We turn now to an inside look at the so-called grandparent scam. Family members targeted with phone calls from fraudsters posing as their loved ones, begging for money immediately to get out of supposed emergencies. Here's ABC's chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky.
I knew that was his voice. It just couldn't have been anybody else.
Shirley Morrow answered her phone and says she instantly recognized her grandson Joseph, a Marine who visited her often. But this panicked phone call alarmed her.
He says, I hit a lady in a car who was 8 months pregnant, and she is in the hospital, and I'm in jail.
Crying and in shock, Shirley says Joseph handed the phone to another man claiming to be an attorney.
The man said, well, if you can raise $9,000, the charge will be dropped and Joseph will be released.
The 91-year-old rushed to her bank, taking out the full amount in cash, not realizing she'd actually fallen victim to an all-too-common scam.
It's called the grandparent scam because the scammer will pretend to be a grandchild and call their older adult relative and pretend to be in distress.
Shirley's case is just one of tens of thousands reported nationwide. Tonight, a look inside the technology aggressive scammers are using to mimic voices and trick seniors, plus rare insight from the FBI as they crack down on this rampant problem.
A new report from the FBI detailing how much money Americans lost to scams last year.
Those who lost more than $100,000 increased significantly.
More than a dozen people facing federal charges for an alleged scam targeting more than 400 seniors.
Rebecca Keithley, an assistant section chief with the FBI's Financial Crime Section, says these grandparent scams are exploding in popularity because they're so lucrative.
Last year, for older adults alone, they lost $4.9 billion.
That's just what was reported.
We know that those numbers are underreported. Scams have gone global. Highly organized criminal syndicates are now running massive scamming compounds.
In Massachusetts, the Justice Department says 13 people running an alleged call center in the Dominican Republic tricked more than 400 older Americans out of millions. In Vermont, prosecutors say dozens of older residents lost more than $21 million to a ring of alleged scammers arrested in Canada, some with nicknames like Muscles and Blondie.
If you factor in cryptocurrencies, peer-to-peer payment apps, criminals are using the international banking system to launder the funds faster than ever.
So the likelihood of recovery is pretty grim.
Unfortunately, that's the case.
You think about security, and the weakest link is not the technology or the devices we use, it's people.
John Hammond is a cybersecurity expert who says seniors in particular may be more vulnerable to scammers.
If it's something presented as a dire situation, they want to be there because that's grandma, that's grandpa, that's what they do.
The latest tool being used to trick seniors? Artificial intelligence.
How are the scammers weaponizing AI to target especially elderly people?
It's taking advantage of all the information and data that we have already been willingly putting out onto the internet.
Bad actors can use that publicly available data to copy someone's likeness and speech. My colleague Whit Johnson got a demonstration from another expert to show just how easily an AI-generated recording can be made.
It is me, Whit. Please listen carefully. I have been abducted and am being held in a basement, tied up in the dark. Please follow their instructions. Do not notify the authorities.
You look scared, Whit. Well, I mean, I am. That's very believable.
Hammond says when it comes to AI, almost everyone is vulnerable.
Your voicemail message might say, hey, I can't get to the phone right now, leave a message. And that's what, 3 seconds? The minimum for a lot of these AI training services and solutions is about 10 seconds for audio.
But a 3-second voicemail message plus, a 10-second Facebook video or something, now you're talking.
Oh, yeah.
The FBI says scams specifically using AI resulted in losses of more than $527 million from January to July this year. That's up nearly 200% from the same time in 2024.
How are you supposed to distinguish in that moment whether you're being taken advantage of?
The biggest technique that the FBI encourages was what we're calling the Take a Beat campaign. To pause, take a breath, verify. One of the things that the scammers prey upon is that sense of urgency and secrecy.
While Shirley isn't sure if scammers used AI to copy her grandson's voice, she says she was sure of urgent demands for money from his supposed attorney.
He kept saying, you just get the money and Joseph will be released and the charges will be dropped. And I thought, well, I got to get that money.
Shirley says she made up a story so bank tellers wouldn't question her.
I told him I needed $9,000 cash, and they wanted to know why. I told them that I had workers in my house. They want their money in cash. They looked at me and they were very suspicious and worried. I had to lie to them to get the money.
Once home, she says she handed over the cash to a driver sent by the so-called attorney.
Bank tellers are often the first line of defense, and we train our bankers to recognize the signs.
Deidre Porcher helps run scam education workshops nationwide for J.P. Morgan Chase, which is not Shirley's bank.
We tell our customers, don't respond to text messages from numbers that are strange, and don't trust caller ID. We also encourage families to establish a code word so that if a family member is in distress, they can indicate that something's not quite right.
Porcher also advises people to verify what's happening is real.
We encourage customers to hang up the phone and then use information they have access to. Flip over your credit card and call the number on the back of the card. Reach out directly to whomever you intend to speak to.
Law enforcement groups are also trying to raise awareness. This FBI seminar on elder fraud hosted by Genesis Healthcare aims to make families and caregivers aware of scams before they happen.
A lot of those robo phone calls that you're also receiving to your phone, if you don't recognize the number, don't pick it up. Because if you pick it up, it lets somebody know that it's a valid phone number.
Where are you in the combat of these things? Can you keep up?
We know that a number of the complaints we received are connected to the same networks. And so we are working hard to identify the networks and freeze the monies.
Ideally, victims should report the scam to law enforcement right away.
What happens if you realize it a year later? Can you do anything about it?
There's very little that we can do to recover the funds. However, that complaint is still very important to the FBI. That piece of information that victim provides might help us uncover the larger network.
But how embarrassing it must be to come forward and tell the FBI, I just got scammed.
Those feelings are understandable. Anger, shame, embarrassment. They might be scared that they're going to lose their sense of independence. We like to reframe it as, you're helping others.
You're hungry, aren't you?
Shirley says that's exactly why she's speaking out, even though she reported her scam to police and never got her money back.
I want other people to know that just because they're older doesn't mean that they have no ability to protect themselves. I just figure they need the warning from somebody who's been through it. You're being a good girl.
Our thanks to Aaron.